happy to inform you that Transilience is going to conduct training workshop on anger management. We'll see various aspects of anger, what is anger, why it happens, and we'll see how anger can be managed. So let us see first what is anger. Anger is natural, though sometimes unwanted or irrational emotions that everybody experiences from time to time. Anger experts describe the emotion as primary natural emotion which has evolved as a way of surviving and protecting yourself from what is considered a wrongdoing. Yes, emotional state. Mild anger may be it may vary in intensity. Sometimes mild anger may be brought out by feeling tired, stressed, or irritated. In fact, we are more likely to feel irritated if our basic human needs like food, shelter, sleep, sex, etc., are not met or are jeopardized in some way. We may become angry when reacting to frustration, criticism, or a threat, and this is not necessarily a bad or inappropriate reaction. We can also feel irritated by other people's belief, opinion, and action, and hence anger can affect our ability to communicate effectively, making us more likely to say or do unreasonable or irrational things. Being unreasonable or irrational can lead others around us to feel threatened, resentful, or angry themselves, and again, this can all be barriers to effective communication. It can be destructive and lead to problems at work, in relationship, and quality of life, and then feeling mad in response to frustration or injury. And then we may come across some distorted thinking. Now let us see what are the current views. Angry people are hostile. That is hostility is a chronic state of anger, and hostility is a permanent personality characteristics. Hostile people are unhappy. Angry people are emotionally insecure. Angry people have a low sense of self. Now we'll see the effects of anger. Anger is a powerful emotion. If it is not handled appropriately, it may have destructive results for us and those closest to us. Uncontrolled anger can lead to arguments, physical fights, physical abuse, assault, and self harm. On the other hand, well managed anger can be useful emotion that motivates you to make positive changes. Then it may create great harm more than any other emotion associated with crime, abuse, poor working condition, poor health. Reports from statistics and service it says that 8,000 to 10,000 people are getting affected with this. Then the poll reveals that people indicate that they feel like killing others, crime rate soars, rapes, murders, battering, child abuse, domestic abuse, One in five women are raped, 6,83,000 in 1990, and 30% were less than 11 years of age. These are the statistics. Children below 3 to 17 years are the more violent. Let us see what are the physical effects of anger. Anger triggers the body's fight and flight response. Other emotions that trigger this response include fear, excitement, and anxiety. The adrenal glands flood the body with stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. The brain shunts blood away from the gut and towards the muscles in preparation for physical exertion. Heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration increase. The body temperature rises and the skin perspires. The mind is sharpened and focused. Let us see what are the characteristics of angry people in the next slide. Uh, Characteristics of angry people are different. There are various kind of they have different characteristics. That first is the hostility, and silently or overtly. Then is the marital problem, and then greater stress in interpersonal aspect of work, and then comes use threats of anger to manipulate others. The negative view of work, less open-minded, and then come hostile people are unhappy, report more difficulties at work, and less job satisfaction. But apart from that, we have seen that the people who have anger, they have other characteristics as well. Low frustration tolerance. These people cannot tolerate even the most minor frustrations. They are easily irritated. They have a short fuse. Some people with low frustration tolerance fume quietly. Some explode verbally, and some resort to physical violence and when provoked. Their judgmental and critical reactions, then perfectionism, all or nothing thinking, possessiveness, poor communication, punitive behavior. Punitive behavior is they often feel like punishing others for various reasons. They have a belief that people should do things the right way, and if they do not, they should be punished. That is the punitive behavior. Then addictive personality. They have a tendency towards substance dependence on, or once they start it, it's difficult to stop by them. And they use anger as a way of feel more powerful. They are cynical, they have antagonistic interaction, and then comes they are less tolerant and less understanding, less socially responsible, distrustful, resentful, competitive, blame others, put down others, and demean others as a way of seeking revenge, influence other people to share their cynicism and pessimism. So, what are the behavioral signs? Behavioral signs of angry people. So, there are a variety of symptoms that people who have intermittent explosive disorder will display based upon individual genetic makeup, development of social skills, coping strategies, presence of co-occurring disorders, and use of addiction to drugs or alcohol. The, some examples of various signs are in behavioral are physical aggressiveness. Chronically angry people frequently create unfriendly social environments for themselves by the way they deal with anger. Verbal aggressiveness or verbal antagonism and condescending, condescending remarks fuel antagonism from others. Assaults, physical, raise, slapping, shoving, using a weapon, anger outbursts. And then others are like damaging property. Uh, we already have covered aggressive, overly critical, fault finding, name calling, sarcasm, prejudice, cynical humor, and teasing. flashes of temper, physically attacking people and or objects, then road rage, hurtful, malicious, gossip, stealing, troublemaking, revengeful, passively resistance, interferes with progress, and then rebellion. Some cognitive symptoms are low frustration tolerance, feeling a loss of control over one's thought, racing thoughts, and the health, smokes, drink more alcohol and coffee, consume more calories, poor health overall. Others are resentful, jealous, envious, argumentative, unforgiving, tired, and some psychosocial symptoms are feeling of rage, uncontrollable irritability, brief period of emotional detachment. And anger kills. So what actually is the uh, how anger kills a human being? The feelings are powerful force and an inescapable part of life. They can have a pretty significant effect on our health, especially if they are negative emotions. Then we see thought, then brain, let us get mad, and automatic nervous system, release of hormones and chemicals in blood, then that increases heart, increases blood sugar and pressure, increases breathing, impairs senses, release deadly cortisol for fight and flight, drain adrenal glands, stimulate fat cells and control to cholesterol. How anger kills us? We become angry. To get angry, slowly commit suicide, and then anger releases slow action poison, is toxic, damages immune health. Then cumulative effect, cholesterol buildup, which blocks blood flow to arteries, stopping heart, causes release of chemicals and killer venom. It decreases production of serotonin, which activates the sympathetic nervous system, which speeds up release of cortisol, killer venom. Decrease action of parasympathetic nervous system. It even the cortisol is potentially dangerous. It lasts for 13 hours at the cellular level when released. Linked to cancer, causes slow burn. Suppressed anger is equally as bad. Bitterness, depression, high blood pressure, heart disease, colitis, and other illness. Now, how to manage ways to manage and express anger? How we can manage anger? There are two rules to live by. Either don't sweat the small stuff, and second is most matters are small stuff. Learning to manage angers can be a lifesaver. So how we can learn to manage anger? I'm just telling you some of the important factors. If you are an angry person, an abuser, an oppressor, work on changing your habits. Anger can be caused by internal or external events. You might feel mad at a person, an entity like the company you work for, or an event like a traffic jam or a political election. Wherever the feelings come from, you don't have to let your anger get the better of you. Some techniques can be used to manage it, and we should learn these techniques how to control the anger. This can save a life. First, check yourself. It's hard to make smart choices when you are in grips of powerful negative emotion. Rather than trying to talk yourself down from a cliff, avoid climbing it in the first place. Try to identify warning signs that you are starting to get annoyed. When you recognize the sign, step away from the situation or try relaxation techniques to prevent you irritation from escalating. Don't dwell. Some people have a tendency to keep rehashing the incident that made them mad. That's an unproductive strategy. Especially if you have already resolved the issue that angered you in the first place. Instead, try to let go of the past incident. One way to do that is to focus instead on things you appreciate about the person or the situation that made you angry. Third is change the way you think. Second is change the way you think. When you are angry, it's easy to feel like things are worse than they really are. Through a technique known as cognitive restructuring, you can replace unhelpful negative thoughts with more reasonable one. Instead of thinking everything is ruined, or for example, tell yourself this is frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. If you are a person impacted by an angry person, you must alleviate the assaults the angry person makes to your person and body or eliminate the angry person from your life. Anger is like second-hand smoke, it can kill a non hostile person too. Some of the suggested strategies are there: stress in inoculation, then flooding or frustration training, meditation, relaxation, assertiveness, be empathetic, learn to be fair, learn to hold back anger, stop using your temper to get your way, practice listening, improve communication, and cognitive restructuring that I just spoke sometimes back. Stop, stop hostile fantasies, respect others, practice forgiveness, have a sense of humor. Some special strategies: a 10-step program, rules for expressing anger, timeout, coping with your co-workers or boss, rethink, recognize, empathize, think, hear, integrate, notice, and keep. That is rethink. Strategies for controlling harmful hostility. Identify your pet peeves. Reason for with yourself. Stop hostile thoughts, feeling and urges. Avoid overstimulation. Assert yourself. Listen, then forgive. Then pretend today is your past last. Help yourself and or others to change. And now we are coming to the end. Thank you for participation. Thank you very much.